Yeah, students, good morning once again to all. So, in my previous session, I discussed about the session tracking techniques. So, what are the session tracking techniques we have, right? So, in that session tracking techniques, I think we have completed one session tracking technique, that is cookies, which we have done. So, what is the purpose of the session, and what do you mean by session, and why we need to maintain this session tracking, and what do you call session management? So these are the things just what we learn. Then one of the mechanism or one of the technique we call as a session tracking we done in my last session, that is the cookies. What is the cookies we have just learned, right? So we define a cookie, how we are going to represent in our servlet programming. So if I use cookie, what happens, and how many types of cookies we have, advantages with cookies, and drawbacks also we have done, right? To try to just get back once again, drawbacks you try to remember, it will not work if cookie is disabled. Only textual information can be sent in cookie object as said to be cookie object. Just that's the drawbacks. Then we have seen some of the class. So what is the class we are using to create our cookie? So the class name we have defined, right? Then, so if you want to call your cookie with without any specific name, so simply we can call our constructor as a default. So it creates or it constructs a cookie. But if you want to create your cookie with a specified name and value, then that purpose we can use parameterized constructor. Then we have seen some of the methods, how to set your cookie age and how much age the cookie should be alive, and what is a get name, and how to get your cookie name, the and how to delete, and how to set the value of it, and how to set the name. So some of the methods, right, for your cookie class. Then these are the methods required to using how to use our cookies. That is how we need to get our cookie. If you want to add any cookie new, that purpose add cookie, and to get the cookies which are presented, we can just take all the cookies from your browser using that method. And finally, we have done how we are going to delete our cookie and how to get our cookie. Not a single, I'm saying as a group, all cookie names and values you want to get it. So for that, you need to use a for loop along with your array, so that it will just get back your name and value of the cookie which you assign. Then I think we have seen an example program for the cookie also. So that is one technique. Now coming into my second technique, what is my second technique is hidden form field. So what do you mean by hidden? Hidden itself is saying is a invisible. And if you want to use hidden form field, a hidden text field is used to maintain the state of an user. Means suppose if a user want to apply, or if you want to make the information or about your user want to make as a hidden, because our main agenda, what is the main agenda? I want to maintain the state information of my user. But what I'm doing here, just I want to maintain a state of a user, I need to maintain one text field, and that text field to be what? Hidden. Invisible text field is to be used. So if you want to use this type of invisible text field, so how we need to define how this approach will work out. But here, one important thing you need to get it back is, if you are using your state as invisible, so we need to store our information in the hidden field with a tag value that I can show you, right? And in the hidden field, and get it from another servlet. So whatever the hidden field you are using, if you are maintaining your text, your name or your state is hidden, you want to get your information. We store the information in the hidden field, and that to be get it from another servlet. So there will be two servlet. One servlet is using to make your information as a hidden, and one servlet we are going to get your information from there. Because I need to maintain a state of user, right? So this approach is somewhat better. And this approach is better if we have to submit form in all pages and we don't want to depend on the browser. So previously what happens if you take your cookies, we are depending upon the browser, right? And we are depending upon the browser. And here in this case, we don't require to depend on any browser, but we need to define or we need to depend on one more servlet, which that servlet runs over your server, right? So what I'm just making here, this approach is better if we have to submit a form that we need to do it, right? And in all the pages, what are the pages you have created, and we don't depend on the other browser. And here we need to depend on another servlet, not any browser. And if you want to make your field as invisible, so what is the syntax you are going to follow? So I need to maintain input to type. So what is my input type is equivalent to, clearly I'm saying not any text. I'm saying this is a hidden. I'm making a hidden. And what is the name of that particular input to type? Username. And what is the value for the name you have given? Some name you have given as value. So this is a name and this is value. And clearly I am saying is I need to maintain my field name and my value is to be hidden. So that purpose I need to clearly write hidden. And what I'm just making, if you give this syntax as like this, here username is the hidden field name. Username is what? Hidden field name. And the value which you are passing is a hidden field value, right? But where we are using this hidden form or hidden field, a real application, as I can say. So when you try to access any website, actually, it is widely used in comment form of a website. So comment form of website means if you try to make any website usage, right? So in such cases, what we will do is we store page ID and page name, because we don't want a page ID and page name. It creates a problem for us. What is the ID of the page and what is the name of it can be misused. So that purpose, what I'm just making is, in generally, what when you are trying to use any website, just example you take, I'm trying to use a website as google.com. Just let it be, I'm using this website. So when I try to type something, then I go for search. Immediately, what happens? It's going to open something, the related fields which you have tried to search, and it goes to some immediately to the redirecting page. But here, have you found to which page you are redirecting and what is the idea of the page and name of the page? No, we can't go it. We can't find it. But here, what we need to find? Just look at here. So app equal to desktop and list equal to so and so we are maintaining. That is another issue. But here what I just making is, there we are not going to maintain any type of page ID and page name to which page you are redirecting. Because as a security issue, I'm maintaining these fields as hidden fields so that each page can be uniquely identified. One page is not interlinked with other page. To maintain the uniqueness, we are maintaining its ID and name. This is what as the real where a real time example, a real time application where I can use my hidden form field. Now, if I want to use this hidden form field, so there will be some of the advantages we had, there will be some disadvantages. So what is advantages is it will always work whether cookie is disabled or not. Means it depends upon either it can be run server side. Not depends upon any client browser like your cookies. Actually, cookies will depends on where cookies will depends upon your client browser. But here there is no dependency on client. Everything is operated over your server. So either cookie is disabled or not, I don't mind. I don't need to check here because I am including it in a separate form. But as I had an advantage, parallelly I need to have some drawbacks and disadvantages also. So what is the disadvantage? As it is maintained at the server, right? We need to create an extra form. We need to create an extra form on each pages, because how many pages you are making to hidden, or how many fields you are making in hidden each servlet. So a separate extra form submission is required on each pages, how many pages you are trying to create. So it increases the number of forms, extra forms, how many you want for each page, or you want to make in all one page. So that depends upon your creation of an application. And the thing is, how you had a drawback with cookies, here also it's a one of the common drawback. It is also providing a textual information. There is no a type of hyperlink information where I can click and where I can redirect. That information as we are not providing, we are providing only textual information can be used. So this is the three drawbacks as I had with my hidden field, hidden form field. So hidden form, clearly I'm saying the form which can we are going to make as a hidden. So these are the three drawbacks. And if you see, before going to the next application, parallelly we will try to cover an example also. So it is also be one of your program where we can just execute in your lab. So you had in your lab also this program. So just try to go with the NetBeans IDE. Just give me a second so that I can show you how we are making the use of hidden form field where we are maintaining in a separate servlet. So this is a first example what I'm trying to say. Hidden form field. I'm trying to open it. Just give me a second. Yes. So as usual, it contains the web info information as you know, and it contains some web.xml. Just find out what the web.xml you are having here. So first I will try to close remaining all the files which I don't want, which I opened previously. Yes, I closed it, right? So what is the things we had it here? This is a description of my JTV component where I can make it. So I'm making a description and I'm making a display. Then I'm making servlet and servlet class name, then description. Then I'm making a use of your next servlet, whatever we had it. This is everything is common. So mapping of your servlet and URL pattern, everything goes same as your the previous thing. And welcome page to be what? Or index.html. So now just look at your index.html. What is index.html is containing? It contains a one type of text is what? Sorry, type input type is what? A text field, and it represents what? The username, which you need to enter your username. And then you are going to make a type of button which will go submit. So the value for it is what? Go. So simply we have created a user application, or I can say a index.html. So when you just make it that by giving some username and by clicking your go, then it is going to be redirected. There we had two servlet. First we will look at what is the servlet one is contains. So up to this we know that everything is imported, no need to take from our side. And what you have next, I'm creating or I'm defining one string. String, what is the string value? It's a variable. N is my variable, and I'm using a request object. So remember, I need to get parameter which I have entered. So I'm getting a request, and what is the method I'm using for it? Get parameter. And what I need to get? The username which you have given. That username I need to get it, right? Now here I'm going to make my hidden concept. So creating a form, I told it every time we need to create the form that we have invisible text field, right? What is the input? What is the enable invisible form I'm creating? It is called as hidden form field. So the form action is what? The welcome, right? So input field type is hidden. I'm clearly mentioning. And what is hidden here? Name of user which you have getting from your parameter method, that I need to make as hidden. So automatically what happens? The hidden name, so username to be, there is nothing but name of your uh, field, and value of that thing will become hidden, right? And then I had a submit button and it goes to next, and it goes to what? The next, where we need to go for. One, you make a click of that one and it closes your form, right? So immediately it goes to what? It goes to my next action. As I said, welcome. So I'm going to next second, right? So here the second servlet is containing this. Up to this one is clear to you. And how to get the value of what the hidden you have mentioned. I mentioned in my first servlet, it is my hidden field. What is the hidden field you have taken is username is my hidden field. But I need to get it. To get that hidden field, what I'm just making here, string once again n, because the field which you used is a string field, name is equal into once again here I'm using request dot get parameter username. You are going to get your username as taken into consideration. But here, simply whatever the username you got, I'm going to print with a front. We are making a concatenation as hello. So hello, whatever the user you had, that you are going to be added, and that is closed into a program. Now, please make the execution of the program. So where I tried first to build the program, so build is successful, and I made a run, and my server started. So it's trying to open. First time it takes time. I told already. It's trying to open my web browser. Yes, I opened my web browser. So I need to enter here what? The name. What is the name is containing? And it should make the hidden form field. It is redirecting. Just have a look here. Hidden form field. So this is my, I'm saying hidden form. And just I have given some name. Any name you can give. Just try to give the name as our university name and make a click of it. Just look at here. Is there any form or value is able to visible to you? No, it's hidden, because you say that input type is equal into hidden, name is equal into username, and value is also what? The something what you have passed. So everything I made as a hidden, so I can't able to see. But I want to retrieve that hidden form field in the next servlet. When I want to get in the next servlet, just I can go it by clicking a method called go, and immediately I'm going to get the username is equal and so I'm going to get welcome. So I told is that retrieving can be done to my welcome. So welcome, the thing which I have given as hidden field, now it can be able to see in your browser. So here I just mentioned already in the first servlet.java, there I'm saying a welcome form action to be welcome, it should be shown, and it is going to perform to take your method. And here what is the method we are using? The do get or do post method, you just find out. I'm getting do get. So do get means everything can able to see in your URL. Is it able to see in URL or not? Just find out. Yes, I can able to see. So this is what we had. The second mechanism, what we call as what? Hidden form field. Now, coming into my third mechanism, URL rewriting. So what is the meaning of URL? You know, it's a web URL address, but it's nothing but uniform resource locator, right? And rewriting means we are giving, or we are giving some, we are appending some additional values to your existing URL. After that may be done, that may be done after your next URL or next resource which you have mentioned in your address. How we need to apply, we can see all these things. Why I'm doing to find out the state information of user, or which user is coming, to get the information. I'm just making as all these things, right? So first, what I'm just making in URL rewriting, we append a token or an identifier, both give same meaning, and to the URL of the next servlet or next resource. So after the servlet, if in your URL address bar, after your servlet name, I'm going to add some additional information to that. And what that additional information I'm calling as, it is called as what? The token or identifier. You know what is a token? Is the smallest individual unit which I'm going to be adding after my resource or after my name of my servlet. And what are the things I need to append? So we can send the parameter, whatever we are trying to append, name slash value. You know what is the name? Its input type is equal to name, and input type is equal to value. Previously, we defined it as in separate form. But in this case, what we are doing, we can send parameter name slash value page using the following format. Means I need to follow some specific format. Whatever the format you like, you don't require to post it. So after your URL address, we need to mention a question mark to be separated after your URL. Then I need to give name 1 is equal to value 1, and name 2 is equal to value. So I can use so many parameters, not restricted to only one or two, but we need to follow some syntax, or we need to follow some semantic things which they define. What the things is, name and value is separated by which operator? Equal sign. And parameter, name and value, that is as a combination of one pair. This one I am saying, name slash value is separated from another using what symbol? Ampersand. So we can use a single ampersand, we can use double ampersand, there will be no issue. I can use anything. So what happens once you made it name and value with just make it as ampersand. So when a user clicks the hyperlink, right? You know what is hyperlink? The parameter name and value pairs will be passed to the server. So yes, you are maintaining a name and value. What is the purpose of actually maintaining this means when you click that particular hyperlink which you mention in URL, it directly redirected to your server, right? It directly redirected to your server and it searches the name and value which you have given in URL bar with a suitable method. And what is that suitable method? Is a get parameter. 1 second, I am using. So get parameter method is used to get the values which you mentioned as a token after that resource address. So this parameter name and value pairs will be passed to the server. It happens. In server, what we are going to generate? We are going to write one servlet. In that servlet, it just goes for verification of that username and password which you have given. Sorry, not username and password. The name and value which you have passed should be verified with the either the same user ID and pass or username and value is presented in that particular servlet or not. If it is for find out easily, then next time it doesn't have any issue, so that if you mention the same token value, immediately it can be redirected to your the respective servlet. So where here we are maintaining a session of your user state by giving its name and value as your parameter. So this is what I can do in your second method, what you call as a URL rewriting. And if you had just try to remember, either it may be URL method or it may be your form hidden form field. What is the methods we are getting to get back that one? The methods we are getting is get parameter. So same methods we need to use, but methodology is different. But the thing what we are trying to maintain is same. And when we use this URL rewriting, what are the advantages I can find? It will always work same as your previous the drawback which we find in your hidden form field. Either cookie is disabled or not, it doesn't depend because browser is not depends upon URL writing. Browser is independent, so it will always work whether cookie is disabled or not. And along with this, we had one more advantage, because as you take in your hidden form field, we need to create one separate form action, and a form type is equivalent to hidden, then your text is equivalent to username, then you mention your value is equivalent to so and so. So separately a form you have created in your previous method. So in this method I don't require any separate form. I don't require any separate form. I need only the help of tokens and identifiers where I can append in my URL so that it can redirect it easily. And as I told already to you, as we had an advantages, compulsory we need to have disadvantage. Otherwise, we don't go for next method. So what is the disadvantage here? It will work only with links, hyperlinks. If you don't provide any hyperlink to that token or identifier which you have created, it will not redirect it to the next page. And as usual, a common drawback is it can send only textual information. Only we can just have about the things which you are maintaining is in the form of what? Textual information only. So this is what the drawbacks with your URL rewriting. And had just we need to go for as usual one more example program for URL rewriting, how we are going to use. Just have this as an example program. So same we are going to maintain some deployment descriptor. So what is the deployment descriptor is containing? So I'm maintaining here how many servlet. By seeing this one, you can just look at, as I mentioned, servlet name, servlet pattern. First dot Java I am maintaining as my servlet. Here is a pattern I am saying. Validate and validate is what? They are the alias names of my servlet, right? And where I need to redirect, I mentioned as in my class name. So this is my first servlet, my servlet. I can just find here, and what is the URL it is redirecting slash validate, and what is my second servlet name is a Java. If I need to give an alias, you can give, there is no problem. And when I try to make this, is going to be redirected to my URL pattern slash first. And what is my welcome page? It is my index.html. And just find out what is my index.html is containing now. So my index.html is containing the content which you are giving is in the form of text or HTML. And here you are saying character set is equivalent to UTF-8. So what is the UTF-8 here? So it is a type of function, a transmission function, Unicode transfer function. It will convert your text, whatever you have given, that is converted into Unicode function as you had with 8 bits, 000. So because the language can be understandable by your terminal can be only the Unicode. So that is the reason I made it UTF-8. Then I'm using what method? Post method. And what is an action is equivalent to validate. I need to go it. So that is my action I need to perform here. And password, we already defined some password for us. Provide password as 1234, and we need to create two things. One is username and one is password. So username and password to be entered, and we need to click or submit button. Then your form is redirected to first. It is going to be redirected to your the servlet as per my request. Which servlet is fit for my the things, I can just made it as first servlet. So when I made it here, my first servlet, what it contains same. We are going to get the parameters from your content type of your UTP-8, and your user string name should be stored in your name variable, and password should be taken as password variable. And these two are we are getting from using get parameter method with the help of request object. Then what is a password? As I mentioned as a comments, so we need to maintain the password as 1234. If suppose the password which you have said is 1234, if it is equals, then I'm going to make here my usage of the thing. What is that? My usage of URL rewriting. So what is the URL rewriting I'm making here? So first, where I need to redirect to my servlet, question mark, and you are passing parameter name and parameter value. So it should be redirected to username is equivalent to the name of that, value of that, whatever the name you entered, it's going to be redirected. Send redirect method. Previously, before your cookies, we have discussed this send redirect. I told already the send redirect can work from either it can be client side or it can work over client out of server or inside server. So this method will make a move to your servlet name as first. What the first is containing. So first servlet is getting parameter 1 second, right? So get parameter username, whatever the username you entered, and you are giving out.println, and the user welcome, the username which you have given, that will be taken as an output. And try to make this as compile, sorry, build and run, and try to run your program, and just you focus on your URL bar when you are trying to execute this program, because it is a method of URL rewriting method. So it's a type of validation which we are doing for our form. So I need to make any name username, no problem. Username is not predefined, but password is clearly defined as predefined as a 1234. But other than that, I can try to give what happens. Just we'll see. I have given some password as LKGH. So try to submit. It will not go for any validation. So validation is not success. So If suppose if I have given my password as 1234, clearly they said I need to give password. So just make a look at here. This is what I'm just making slash first question mark. First is what? It's making move to your first servlet. And what is your URL? Sorry, what is your value you are giving input value? Input value is username, and it prints a value as what? Value, that parameter is Marwadi. So it has been redirected. So that URL rewriting you are going to mention clearly in this file. So previously you are not mentioning, you are saying a hidden. We are not able to see previously the things which are going because that is hidden form field. But in this case, it has been redirected. Send a redirect to your name. So that's it. This is a second, third actually. For today it is second, right? So this is your third method of your what I can say session tracking, and we are left with one more method. That one more method is known as it's HTTP session. So we need to make your HTTP session is nothing but we need to get everything. Every session is going to get one some uniqueness which you call as an ID. Just how it will work, but before that, we'll make it come back to your HTTP session. So this is my last and final mechanism under my session tracking. So what happens is, in this case, your web container or your container will create. Suppose if a client is making a request to your web container. So once the request is coming, it's going to create its as unique ID. It's going to create a unique ID. And that unique ID we are calling as sessions. How many sessions you are creating? For that, a unique ID will be created. So suppose this is a client one making a request, a session ID will be generated. So next time he is coming for that request. If you maintain any time period for the session, it's fine. You can easily identify it using the time period. And if you had your ID with you, so easily that using that identifier, we can represent that is old user or new user. So when you want to make your HTTP interface, so this HTTP interface is going to create the two things. One is it is going to bind an object, whatever the object you are having, that is going to be binded, and we can have a facility to view and manipulate about the information about what is our session name, or we can manipulate it as a session. Like some of the fields is identifier, creation of time, and lost access time. Everything we can make a manipulation, because every time when you can make a request, for each and every request a unique ID will be created, and that creation can be done using with the help of what? HTTP session interface. We can able to create a separate a session ID for each request from different users, right? And how we are going to make, or how we are going to create a each time a session ID and etc. Just we can make here. So this program, your second program shows how we are going to use the session ID. So it has been defined in one servlet. So just making, and one more important thing here, if I want to use this session information, I need to go for a type of a class. What is that? The servlet name here, session track. And this session track is going to extend our HTTP servlet, because as I told, always my HTTP servlet is the basic methods which I need to use when I'm trying to create my servlet, because the reason is this HTTP servlet will provide an additional methods like do get, do post, and do where and the things we had it, etc. And for that purpose, as I'm mentioning once again, HTTP servlet extension, and what you are going to get, you are going to use do get. So this thing already you know it. So if you already have, so create a session object. If you are having a session, we know if you not required to create, but if you are not created, we need to get a session object. So create a session object if it is already not created only. So how to create here the session is going to be created with session class, that is HTTP session followed by session object, and that session also going to get using a method called get session. And always I need to make it as a true. If you don't make it as a true, every time it will not make a session separate session for you. And now I want to create the date for each request of my session, because today I can make a request, tomorrow I don't know at what time I need to make a request. So I need to maintain the date also for it, and time also. If you want, I can create it. So date and time will be created here. And here for making your create time, so for that purpose, what I'm just making, with the help of a new object, we are going to call a method called date, and in that session dot object dot method name. What is my method name here? Get creation time. So immediately it is going to get your time back. So it is going to print your time, session creation time, at what time you have created your session. And you want to know what is my last access time of that particular web page. So that also we can get it by using an object called last access time, and that is also be with the help of date, but method will be changed. Previously it is also be date, but what is the method here? It is get creation time method, but here I am going to use get last access time. So that it can create the last, it can return the last access time, which is object, which is used by this particular object. And then after taking or after creating your session and the date and last access time, this I'm going to print that string title as welcome back to website. Simply I'm giving a message once a request. Each time when you make this session request, each time it says welcome. Then the number of counts. So previously, how many counts you had? I don't know. Now your number of counts will becomes what? 0 visit count, and count key value is equal to what? New string of visit count. So key value will be just calculated here. How many times you are going to be counted that website with a representation of a visit count key as an object I'm having. And the user also meant, I said, user is going to maintain some unique code, and that unique code you are calling as user ID key. So it's a type of unique value, and that string user ID, whatever you are saying, new string user name to be given as what? ABCD. So I'm giving username as ABCD, and if session as object dot is new, if it is a new session, then only it says welcome to my website, right? Then session dot attribute user ID comma key is a user ID, and you are going to get the username with set attribute. I'm going to set up my session with some user ID and username. I pass value and name I have given, right? And if suppose this is not a new session, what happens? Your count will be increased +1, because I need to make for each and every visit +1 +1 +1. So visit count is equivalent to +1, and that is that user key we have created, that you can get it back by using get attribute method. Then if else block is done, then if it is new visit, then automatically we are going to set the attributes for it. What is my count key, how many times you visited, and what is the count key unique code you have generated. Then you are going to get back your response to your HTML, and that to be printed. And remember here, when you are having, or when you want to make a creation of the output, that output is creating in the form of what? A tag, or in the form of HTML, or it is creating in the form. That's it. And what the form is containing here, the form is containing what is my ID, and what is my title, and what is my creation time, whatever I used above, the same thing I am going to place here. And what is my creation time, and what is my last access time, and what is my username, and how many times I have visited, everything I'm going to track. So this is what is a tracking information we are making. How many times you are trying to access that particular same web page, that has been recorded in the separate form. Now you try to build and compile. You try to build and compile, and just check here. So it's going to get information to you. clearly what is my last access time, what is the creation time, what is username. Now just look at here, ID, a unique ID is created, right? Creation time is, you can just find out the same time, 8:16 as per Indian Standard Time. And last access time is also the same thing. My user ID is ABCD. So user ID is a set of content which we have already set up, right? Now just I'll close once and I will try to recompile, just we'll have a clarity. So run. So each time it's going to make as what? Number of visits 0. Now have a look. So unique ID, you just check your unique ID. So A83. So a user is A83 is unique ID is creating A84. But here number of visits, the value is not increasing. Actually, I need to get my number of visits count as added to +1. Just only one thing is I can't able to get my number of visits. Just I'll just find out. Maybe I need to get this as, yes, visit count is equivalent to visit count +1. It depends upon kids. It's working, but where I'm going to get a visit count, I'm maintaining as a set attribute. Count key I'm displaying and count is not increasing. Only the thing is the remaining is adding. Just we'll find out once. I'll try to make it. 1 second. No, I'll try to clean and build better. I'll retry to start my server. Yes, now you can just find it. So to same website previously I visited one time. Now I retry to go for visit same site. So what is my session ID? Session ID is doesn't change. Accessing time, if it is same, it displays as usual. So 8:18:02. And but here number of previously I visited one time, 0 time. Now it is visited one more time. Now I go for one more and compile to try to change it as a 2 second time I visited. So the last access time you can find 18:06, and this last time is 18:02, and this last time is also 18:02. And just will make it clear that if you want to go wait for more 1 minute, then automatically we are going to get automatically the session time and everything is going to be displayed over your using that method. That is a get date and a get last content information. Everything we can get from there only. So I just waited for a second and I try to compile 1 second. So my number of visits are 3. So time has been changed. So you can find 8:18:02 and the last access time is 8:18:35. So it has been changed. So like this, your session track, your session track will work over here. So this is what I just made it. The session tracking information you as you are maintaining in a separate URL form. So these are the 4 mechanisms which I'm using to track my session to make your state of your user information. And after that, this is a basic Yeah. So there's this servlet events and etc. We can just discuss in my next session, right? So as of now, any clarifications under your session tracking mechanisms? So four mechanisms: cookies and URL rewriting, hidden form field, and one more is HTTP session. Any clarifications you need for this, dear students? Any doubts? Right. So all are saying no doubts, everything is fine. Right, fine. So it's a time to give your attendance. So please post your attendance in the chat box. Yeah, those who have given can just leave the session. Two more students, Deepak Kumar and Hiba.